Kenya will now be the fourth country in Africa to do so by maintaining a progressive spirit of building Kenya to be the Silicon Savannah. Honorable Speaker, virtual assets are digital representation of value that are created. Usually by mining, they are traded or transferred in digital sphere, often using the blockchain or other forms of distributed ledger technologies, simply known as DLTs. Their uses are many. They can be used as a medium of exchange, as a unit of account, as a store of value, or even for investment purposes with specific digital ecosystems and across broader financial systems, depending on their structure and application. So, Honorable Speaker, then with the question begs, should we regulate these assets? Honorable Speaker, Kenya has witnessed a remarkable rise in cryptocurrency adoption, with over 10 million citizens now holding one form of a digital asset among young Kenyans, those showcasing the sector's potential within the economy. Over the first few years, our traditional financial regulators, particularly the central bank, the Capital Markets Authority, have over time adopted a cautious stance towards virtual assets. For instance, in both 2015 and 2022, the central bank issued a cautionary notice to financial institutions against engaging with cryptocurrencies, stating that they are not recognized as legal tender. But, Mr. Speaker, here we are realizing that burying our heads in the sand is not tenable anymore. In this regard, the National Treasury now has prepared this bill before us, which was sponsored by the Leader of Majority. Honorable Speaker, when I was elected during my first term in 2017 into this Honorable House, in 2018, it was on record, I raised a question to the then Governor of Central Bank of Kenya, asking what measures is Central Bank and National Treasury doing to prepare themselves on this issue of Bitcoins, blockchain technology, and cryptocurrency, Honorable Speaker. The response from the then Central Bank Governor said that cryptocurrency, blockchain technology, digital assets were passing clouds, was a fad that will fade away. I am happy that at Kenya now we have seen it is no longer a fad that's going to fade away. Digital assets, Bitcoins, blockchain technology, cryptos, and all that space, including Ethereum and all, and stable coins, and all that space, Honorable Speaker, on digital assets, is no longer a fad that's fading away. The reality is now here with us. The scope of this bill, Honorable Speaker, is designated to regulate all persons or entities who are engaging in offering virtual asset services within or from Kenya. This will apply to companies incorporated under Kenyan law or foreign companies duly recognized under the Companies Act and which are licensed to provide virtual assets as defined in the bill in the first schedule. However, this will deliberately exclude certain categories of digital representation to avoid overregulation or financial or non-financial purely utilized-based digital products. Exempted from this bill and act, if passed by this Honorable House, are digital representations that function solely within a closed ecosystem, such as in-game currencies that cannot be transferred, exchange for fiat money, or traded outside the issuer's platform, as well as central bank-issued digital currencies. Certain non-fungible tokens not used for payment or investment purposes, and other digital representations expressly excluded by the relevant authority, Honorable Speaker. This the bill, Honorable Speaker, carefully defines the scope and ensures that only those virtual asset activities posing financial, consumer, or systematic risks fall under the regulatory oversight. This is done while preserving innovation and limiting unnecessary regulation burden on other digital technologies. This focus, Honorable Speaker, is particularly relevant given past incidences in Kenya, where the lack of regulation in virtual asset space has exposed consumers to harm and loss. To give an example, Honorable Speaker, thousands of Kenyans were affected by the collapse of cryptocurrency platform Bitstream Cycle in 2023. Investors lost millions of shillings from this platform when it was abruptly shut down without warning. Bitstream Cycle had operated without any regulatory oversight, promising high returns through digital currency investments, yet it was neither licensed nor monitored by any Kenyan authority. Such cases highlight the dangers of unregulated virtual assets services and demonstrates the need for clear legal framework like the one the bill is introducing to make sure we safeguard the funds of the members of the public. Any person or entity intending to engage in virtual assets must now formally apply to the relevant authority, either through the Capital Markets Authority, the Central Bank of Kenya, and the new entity this bill is proposing to create, the Virtual Assets Regulatory Authority, Honorable Speaker. This bill will form strong emphasis on the prevention and management of conflict of interest among licensed virtual asset providers, which we call VASPs. Under this bill, VASP are required to establish and maintain effective internal policies and procedures designed to identify, to mitigate, and manage potential actual conflict of interest that may arise, for example, and are required to report this to the authority and the regulator, Honorable Speaker. Virtual assets, Honorable Speaker, that simultaneously acts as a broker for their client must clearly separate those roles to avoid manipulating trade outcomes on its advantages. And where conflicts are unavoidable, Honorable Speaker, they will be required to report to the authority. This bill is going to impose enforcement action for contravening any of the provisions of this law, including fines, Honorable Speaker, that are clearly defined in the schedules provided, Honorable Speaker, as per our report. This bill is providing a clear mechanism, Honorable Speaker, for appeal. So where you go to apply for a license to the regulator and you're not issued a license, then this bill provides for not just timelines for when the regulator must respond to you on what documents are required, on whether or not you're going to be issued with a license or not, but also provides timelines, Honorable Speaker, for when they're supposed to issue licenses. This, Honorable Speaker, is meant to cure where this Honorable House has passed laws that would require, for example, particular entities or authorities to license entities, but those entities take years before they are issued with a license, Honorable Speaker. In addition, Honorable Speaker, the bill is also providing for the Cabinet Secretary to issue further regulations. Because from experience, Honorable Speaker, such new entity we may not be able to capture everything that's needed for it in law. And therefore, we are now requiring, Honorable Speaker, within 6 months, that the Cabinet Secretary must issue regulations, Honorable Speaker, to further regulate this particular sector, Honorable Speaker. One of the most significant advantages that we're going to experience with blockchain technology is its decentralized nature. Unlike, Honorable Speaker, traditional financial systems that rely on central authorities, blockchain operates on a distributed ledger maintained by a network of nodes. This decentralization reduces the risk of single points of failure and enhances the security and resilience of financial systems. Kraken, for example, one of the global leaders, has partnered with DeFi Development Corp to tokenize shares on the Solana blockchain, which is demonstrating the potential of decentralized finance to integrate traditional assets in the blockchain ecosystems. Mr. Speaker, I am hoping that this bill will make this reality in Kenya. Blockchain transparency is another critical feature that is that sets it apart from conventional financial systems. Honorable Speaker, every transaction on a blockchain is recorded on a public ledger, which can be audited by anyone. This transparency helps to build trust among users and reduces the potential for fraud and corruption. By tokenizing government securities, platforms like Coinbase can provide real-time visibility into the ownership, the transfer of these assets, and therefore enhance trust and accountability. I hope one day we get to be a country where we can use these particular entities, Honorable Speaker, to safeguard even our public assets. Honorable Speaker, things like the faking and the issuing of duplicate title deeds, Honorable Speaker, can be easily resolved using blockchain technology, where any attempt to change title deed, Honorable Speaker, of any particular property can easily be notified. No, it can easily be detected because it will be impossible to do so using, Honorable Speaker, the blockchain technology that exists. The immutability of blockchain records ensure that once a transaction is recorded, it cannot be altered or deleted. This feature is very crucial in maintaining the integrity of financial records and prevents tampering. Soon, we will need to discuss amending the network, Honorable Speaker, having our procurement laws and our procurement processes use blockchain technology so that we ensure that the fraud that is used, Honorable Speaker, in our procurement systems is not done. And this is possible using blockchain technology. This legislation is to democratize access to investment opportunities through access to tokenized investment tools. By breaking down assets into smaller, more affordable units, tokenization allows a broader range of investors to participate in markets that are previously inaccessible. Honorable Speaker, for example, for you to own a parcel of land in Kenya, you need to own the whole piece of land. Using tokenization, it will therefore now be possible for Kenyans across the economical, Honorable Speaker, to own part of that property and gain, Honorable Speaker, profit from that particular interest, Honorable Speaker. For now, for you to buy a piece of land, you probably need to buy a 50 by 100 or 1 acre or 1 hectare, whatever it is, Honorable Speaker. But using tokenization, it is possible to have this land being accessible to young people in this country, Honorable Speaker, through those small units and have them get a considerable return, Honorable Speaker, on the investment. The efficiency of this blockchain is another compelling advantage that as a country we should tap to. Traditional financial transactions often involve multiple intermediaries, leading to delays and increased costs. Honorable Speaker, it would be important to remind ourselves how, for example, the blockchain technology and, for example, the Bitcoin was launched. During the financial system breakdown in the US, Honorable Speaker, we had banks in the need to compete to issue mortgages, issued mortgages to almost every American. And consequently, what happened? The cost of those houses, considering the force of demand and supply, the price of